is the MMA Plug on Mile High Sports. Here's your host, Jordan Kurtz.
What is up, fight fans? It is time for the MMA Plug on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. You can give me a follow along online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. And after a few weeks away, the UFC is officially back this weekend. We're going to be getting into that card's breakdown in the second segment coming up after the break. We're also going to be diving into a couple of topics that have hit headlines across all combat sports. And then, naturally, we're closing out the hour by going 3 rounds. We got my man, Danny Bailey, behind the glass holding it down here for us. We also want to give a shout-out to the rest of the Mile High Sports crew here. They are taking care of you on all fronts. Football's heading into the postseason. You have the reigning champions in the NBA, Denver Nuggets, right here in the Mile High. All the latest and greatest coverage there. Avalanche, CU Buffs, whatever you could want, they have coverage for here at Mile High Sports, whether that's on the podcast network, milehighsports.com, or going a little bit more into the feature side of things with the magazine. Make sure that you check out all things here at MHS. And moving along, folks, we are starting to get back into the thick of things where fighters are in camp. There is the events that are on the horizon here on the Front Range. And with these events that are coming up, we do greatly always appreciate your support here on the local scene, whether it is coming out and supporting live in person or by purchasing those pay-per-views. But one thing that we always like to stress here is if you have the opportunity to buy your tickets or use that online link for a fighter, please do so. That is something that they get commissioned off of, and it's a great benefit to them and something that they can leverage for future opportunities as they progress and move forward within their career. But to get to the actual events, we have Sparta 101 that's going down at the end of the month. That is July 27th. You have Battle MMA 12. That is going to be down at the Penrose Event Center in Colorado Springs. That is February 17th. And then the week after that, we are back into the thick of things for our 23rd show with Colorado Combat Club, and that is going to be on February 23rd. Naturally, there's going to be a lot of other events that are popping up, whether they be some Muay Thai shows, grappling tournaments. Colorado Jiu-Jitsu Club is going to be back into the thick of things here in Q1. So we'll keep you updated on all of the latest and greatest as much as we possibly can for any of the shows here on the local scene. But again, we just wanted to, from being someone involved here deeply within the local scene across multiple shows, we want to thank you for always coming out and supporting us at the shows. Again, whether that's in person or on those pay-per-views, we can't do what we do without your support, and we look forward to seeing even more of you along with us here in 2024. Now, to give a couple of updates that have gone on in the headlines locally as well as on the full international MMA scale. Over the holidays, and we didn't cover this last week, so I apologize. I do want to circle back to that and cover that. But you had Bojan Velickovic for Elevation Fight Team going over and winning the Octagon Championship. Did that against Andreas Michailidis, who is also a UFC veteran. Over the course of the last year, Bo won 4 fights to be able to get his hand raised for this tournament cup, and so that's for anybody to go out there on high level and compete 4 times within a year, that's tough. It's tough, period. And then also from a resiliency side of things, that means that you stayed healthy to be able to compete and to be able to win at said high level throughout the course of an entire year. So congratulations to Bo. And also on that same card, another UFC veteran went overseas there to Prague in the Czech Republic, and that was Mallory Martin. She got a win after being away for a little over a year there. So congratulations to the both of you. Now, on the UFC side of things, there's a few fights that were announced over the last few days, and little bit of a head scratcher maybe for some of them. One of them, the meme grabbing your hair, like the why why sort of image comes to mind. But I also believe that the timing of a couple of these announcements for some of these high-profile fights, it definitely falls in line with the Francis Ngannou announcement, and that's something that we're going to touch on a little bit later on in the program. But you know Uncle Dana. Uncle Dana is always going to try to rain on somebody else's parade, and that appears to potentially be the case, and that's what the internet thought. You had all of the memes across the social pages out there that were forecasting that Dana was about to make his big announcements at any point right after the Francis news dropped. So those fights, though, that I just want to talk about, and I'm interested in hearing your opinions. So feel free to chime in with us here, whether that's reaching out to Mile High Sports. You can hit us up on the Jocko Go hotline at 303-831-1340, or me, Jordan Kurtz, on social media. That's at Comments from the Peanut Gallery, whether that be on Threads or on Instagram. Hit me up. Let me know what you think. But you have Chris Weidman, former UFC champion, the All-American. He is returning to the octagon to face Bruno Silva. Now, I think that this is such a tough fight for Chris to get back in there again. Obviously, he's had one fight since that horrific injury against Uriah Hall where he snapped his leg. He made his comeback fight against Brad Tavares. He was unsuccessful in that venture. And you have somebody like Bruno Silva, who is a violent kicker, and the state of Chris's leg, his body and his age at this point, it just, for me, it's why, Chris? Why this matchup? There might have been, and I get him wanting to go out there and wanting to compete and wanting to try to continue to be that guy, but at this stage of the game, it's really tough to understand the rationale of him taking this fight, especially based off of the risk versus the benefit here. I understand that he feels that he has the skills and the experience to be able to trump anything that Silva brings his way. But I don't know. It's one of those that we say it many a times when there's some of our fan favorite fighters towards the end of their rope and they're taking these very dangerous fights. So I feel like that could certainly be the case here for Chris Weidman as he takes on Bruno Silva, who's been in there with the likes in his last few fights with Alex Poatan Pereira, with Sharabullah Magomedov. This guy is fighting killers on the regular still. So dangerous matchup for sure. But another dangerous matchup, and just the question of really why. And that's Dustin Poirier against Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, I understand from the UFC side of things, they're trying to build Saint-Denis. It's clear. They're fast-tracking that guy, and he is a juggernaut of a threat, and Dustin is certainly a name that should Saint-Denis be able to get his hand raised against him, that's certainly going to skyrocket his profile within the division and also going to give a significant boost to his popularity. On Dustin's side of things, hey, you got to give the man all the credit and the respect. The Diamond that's why he was a part of that BMF fight, is because he's such a gamer and willing to go out there and put it all on the line to be the man in the arena. But I just don't understand, what does Dustin gain from this fight other than to still prove that he is relevant at 155 pounds? But at the same time, he's taken a dip in the rankings with who he's fighting here. And is it just a case of he needs to fight, needs to be active, he wants to be active, wants to continue to forge forward, and there's not anybody at that date in which he's looking to fight that is available or has said yes? I don't know. It's a head scratcher one for me, though, with that particular fight. And then another one that is certainly a bit of a head scratcher for me as well, just based off of the risk and what might fall off of the table because of it, is Charles Oliveira taking on Arman Tsarukyan. Now, Charles Oliveira was teed up to have a rematch title fight against Islam Makhachev. Islam is currently recovering from an injury and won't be available until later in the year. Dana made the announcement that whoever wins this fight is going to eventually go on to get that title shot against Islam. But from Charles, I just had that title fight booked. I was supposed to fight you in Abu Dhabi in the beginning of November or late October, whatever it was. It was back in the fall. And right before I left, split my eyebrow and lost out on the title fight. Why do I need to go fight in another title eliminator fight against such a terrorizing prospect who is dangerous and explosive all the way around? Why do I need to go and fight in a title eliminator fight to get back that title shot that I already had? I don't know. It's a tough one, but I do also understand that, hey, from Arman's side of things, this is a great opportunity because for so long he was on the outside looking in as far as title contendership, and the 155-pound division was kind of log jammed for a little bit with the Volk coming up situation to a couple of title changeovers. You know, there was just those few guys, and it's been mentioned ad nauseum across guys like Benoit talking about it to Arman being in the headlines speaking of this, but it was log jammed for a little bit. And now there's activity at the top, but with Arman being inserted in this matchup against Charles, that begs the question, what about Justin Gaethje? Where does Justin Gaethje fit into this equation? Where does Justin Gaethje fit into the scheme of things here at 155 pounds? Because it was to my understanding that whoever won the matchup of Charles and Islam would then be fighting Gaethje next. So just an interesting situation of how things are playing out right now. What do you guys think? Let me know on Instagram or Threads at Comments from the Peanut Gallery, or hit us up on that Jocko Go hotline here at Mile High Sports at 303-831-1340. Stick around after the break, folks. We're going to be talking this weekend's UFC Fight Night card preview. That's going to be the first one of the 2024 run for the gold standard in the mixed martial arts world. I'm Jordan Kurtz. Follow me along at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. This is the MMA Plug on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio.